What's up guys, I'm Maureen Moody and I'm the Curious Stylist, and I want to build your confidence in your career through education and science. So if that sounds like fun, stick around.
Every now and then you get that girl that wanted to have that fun color and her hair turns green. So today I want to show you how I used Chroma ID from Schwarzkopf to help correct her color. Now believe it or not, I used Schwarzkopf's Blondme Volume 7. That's what I'm placing on at the root right now. And let's get into some color theory before I go to the next part. So I am painting Schwarzkopf Blondme Volume 7 at her regrowth. So if you could see the chart, there is a light green, and on the other side you can see a light yellow orange. Now you might ask me, hey Maureen, why don't you just go to the very opposite end of the color wheel and choose red, for that's the opposite of the green, right? Well, the problem is that I want to highlight her, and if I put that red on, it's going to deepen her shade and muddy it. So I really want to be able to keep the reflect and keep the brightness in her hair without covering everything too much. My mentor, Dennis Gebhardt, says that you don't want to necessarily always go directly across from the color wheel, that you want to harmonize your shades. And so that is what I am doing. I am trying to harmonize the shades so that I don't lose everything and bring it into the middle and muddy things out. So now we're going to get into what I would call the hair color theory of how to do this correction in the most gentlest way you possibly can. Her ends are a yellow-green, and I need to use yellow and red. And the reason why I picked yellow and red is because I want to maintain the reflect for her hair. By creating a yellow-orange, I am able to gently shift the tone from green to a more natural tone without losing the reflect. It's a gentle sort of way of doing it. So I'm going to break down how I did this. So what I did was mixed at least 5 parts conditioner to 1 part red and 2 parts yellow. And that sheared the conditioner to a level 9 so that I was able to place that on top of the hair and shift it slightly and very gently. So I'm throwing the conditioner on, and then what I do is I take Blondme Volume 7 and I do like 5 parts Volume 7 to 1 part lightener, because you really don't need a lot. Her ends were very blonde already. They didn't really need a lot of work. And so by just really diluting that lightener, all I'm doing is just kicking through the direct dye that she was using. And that really is the gentlest way to get through this and to correct it in a nice way. This is the best lightener I have ever used. And when I use it for around the hairline and retouches, I do 1 part powder lightener to 1.5 parts developer, and I am using level 7. But because it takes me a while to do her highlights, I'm not afraid that that's going to hurt her hair. So she is naturally a level 6, and I can tell that she does not have a lot of red orange in her hair naturally to pull through.
Do me a favor, if you are enjoying this content, please smash the like button and subscribe. I make weekly videos.
I am using my favorite Baby Lights comb right here. It cuts down on my time so much. I love this comb. If you are interested in this comb, I'm going to leave a link to a video where I discussed why I decided to make the switch and try that comb out. So let's get back into it. So as you can see, I am just working through and putting my foliage in. And if you want a video on how I do my foliages, please give me a comment below, and I would love to talk to you about how I work with my patterns and how I do this. So as you can see, I've put all the foils around the front, and now I'm going to start on the other side, and I'm just going to take the time to take a look at that foil and see how it's progressing. And as you can see, it has cut down on the green a lot. And so I'm also checking to see just the elasticity of the hair itself, and seeing if it looked really good when I opened up the packet. So now I'm just going to continue to use my favorite foil comb and get her baby lights in nice. I am using the Ashley Norman foil board, and I absolutely love this baby light board. It is my new favorite toy that I use at the salon. It gets right up to the scalp, and I find that I have so much more control with my highlights, and I don't overlap as much with the lightener, and that is part of the reason why I switched over to a foil board. Now this is an excellent angle where you get to actually see what I am doing, and you can see how the lightener itself is very diluted when I'm working with it. So I really liked the Chroma ID for using in this correction. It really did help to shift the hair in the right way. Now, what I'm doing right now is I'm adding the lowlights into the hair. And when I did her lowlights, I used the Schwarzkopf Vibrance, and I used level 6 on her regrowth. And on her ends, I used 765 to get that chocolate, the red orange back into her hair. And I diluted that with a little bit of clear to just make sure that it was going in the right direction. And about 10 minutes in, I did pop those open to see how that color was progressing. And it wasn't muddy, so I just kept going forward. And so what I'm doing now is taking the Chroma ID mixture that I made for the color correction, and I'm painting that on the remaining blonde that's left over. And then I am putting the very diluted 7 volume lightener, and with the lightener, so the 5 parts of the 7 volume to the 1 part lightener, and I'm painting that over that to shift it. So all of the hair that's left over that's still green has a chance to gently move away from the green while maintaining its beautiful reflect. So when you are doing this method, I am not going to lie, the first time that you start to open up the foil packets, the ones that you've placed the yellow orange onto, it's a little unnerving because you're not exactly sure if that color, the one that you see, is actually going to stay on the hair. And so it can be a little scary, because when you open it up, you can kind of see that it's a little, well, you can't see it right now, but when you open it up initially, you can see it's a little bit more yellow-orange. And as you sometimes manipulate that shade and work with the lightener in your hands, you can actually rub that away, and you can see underneath that it corrects it. So what I'm doing right there is just going through and making sure that it's not over. You can see now, you can see what I'm talking about, where it's more yellow. But once you rinse that off, it's really beautiful. And so what I used on her to tone her in the end was, I used Schwarzkopf's Igora Vibrance, and I used 6-0 and 7-1 at her regrowth to give her a nice root smudge. And on the ends, I used 9.5-21, 9.5-19, and 9.5-55, and then I put a third of the clear. And the 9.5-19 really helped to kick in a little bit of the violet. Now I was able to just trim her, and as you can see, it is definitely a lot more natural looking and a lot more even toned. So I really loved doing this color correction, and I loved the confidence I got through using Schwarzkopf. I'm Maureen Moody. I'm the Curious Stylist, and I want to build confidence in your career through education and science. See you next week.